I'm Mary Wright, and I'm 89 years old.
All right, Mrs. Wright. Can you tell me a little bit about your birthright? Where were you born? Tell me about your parents, your grandparents, if you remember them, and your earliest memories as a child.
Okay. I was born in Warren, Ohio. This is my hometown. At that time, I was born in an area they designated as the Flats area. And at that, I remember my address, 231 Clinton Street. And that at that time, that was a melting pot because we had all nationalities. Greeks, Italian, Jews, you name it. But we were all living in one area. And it was like, I don't know, everybody seemed to get along well there. And it was just like a town of our own. But we had stores and stores that were mostly owned by the Greeks. And we had restaurants there. And there was a great big Greek coffee house. And we had, all the churches were in that area, I remember. Because Second Baptist was on Walnut Street at that time when I was growing up. And then Third Christian Church was on Fulton Street in Warren until we went to our other church, the new church, which is presently located on First Street. And I went to First Street School. I started in 1937 at First Street School. And I should have got that picture up there to show you of my teachers at First Street School. But I went to First Street School, and then from First Street School, I went to Central Junior High School. It was an old school, built before my time. And so after Central Junior, I graduated to Harding High School.
Well, when you went to First Street, was it an integrated school? Did blacks go with the whites?
It was integrated. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything about segregation because we were all just seemed like one.
Did you have any black teachers?
No black teachers, all white teachers. But as far as I can remember, they were good teachers. They were white teachers, but they were good. And they were concerned about students learning. If you didn't pass, if they figured you didn't earn enough to pass, they would detain you. And you would have to repeat that. So that went from the first grade to sixth grade. And we had English teachers, and, well, all the different teachers at that time. And I just can remember that when you talk about segregation, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what that word meant.
So when you were in school, were blacks allowed to participate in all the clubs? Were they allowed to be class officers? Were they allowed to be cheerleaders, majorettes?
Not that. I don't remember any having that opportunity. I really don't.
Okay, so did they tell you that you couldn't try out for cheerleader, or you just knew that a black person could not be a cheerleader when you were in school?
You just knew that you couldn't, because I didn't see it happening as far as when I was in high school. It never happened. Yeah.
So what about sports? Let's say football. Was the entire football team integrated, or was it just only a few blacks allowed to play on the team?
The football team was integrated. They had black players.
A few.
A few, yeah.
Do you remember any of the black players on Harding's team when you were in high school?
I'm trying to think right now. Because I wasn't into sports. I didn't really care that much about sports. But we did have, I'm trying to think. I can't remember the names of any.
So did you participate in any extracurricular activities in high school, or were you in any clubs in high school?
No, not really.
So what did you do after you graduated from high school?
Well, I did take a commercial course in school.
After you graduated from high school?
After when I entered high school, they had what they called a commercial course. And that consisted of to ready you for the business world. So I took shorthand and typing. I wanted to take Spanish because that seemed so interesting, but I never took Spanish. So I took shorthand typing. And I was so intrigued with that because I had a good teacher at that time. I remember her name, Louise Kenzie, was my typing teacher. And Ethel Matthews was my shorthand teacher. And so I did pretty well in that. I was, my typing was up to about maybe 85 words a minute.
Great.
And I could take shorthand
Can
and
you
transcribe. I could take it and transcribe it.
So can you explain what shorthand is? Because a lot of younger people probably have never heard of shorthand.
It's called Greg's shorthand. I have an old book. I'd have to pull it out of my belongings, but I have that book.
And so what was the purpose of it, of shorthand?
Shorthand is versus longhand. You don't write out the full words. You just they have symbols.
Yes.
Symbols.
Yes.
And I'd have to get the book to explain it to you.
Okay.
But if anyone showed me some Greg shorthand, I could read it. That's how good I was in it, and I liked it.
So after you graduated, were you able to utilize those skills in the job?
I was hoping I would be, but at that time,
you can keep talking.
But at that time, when I graduated, there were no jobs available for black girls like myself. But my white friends were able to get jobs. And I remember some of them being hired at the banks downtown, at First Federal, I think that's what it was when I graduated, downtown Warren. They got jobs there and jobs elsewhere, but the only job that was available to people like me were nurses' aides at hospitals. That was my first job.
So did you actively try to get a job as a secretary? I mean, did you actually go apply for jobs?
Yeah.
Do you remember where?
I went to, there was an agency in the Old Second National Bank called Dean Forrester. I'm sure a lot of people would remember that. It should be in our archives or somewhere. Dean Forrester's agency. I would always go there to try to get a job. They would sign you up or tell you where jobs were. And every time I would ask for a job in my capacity, they would tell me, we don't have anything. We don't have it. And I was always so disappointed. So disappointed. And then one time I went to the employment office. I went there quite a bit. No jobs. They would look all through there for us. We don't have anything. So
how did that make you feel?
That would make me feel, I just felt like
It hurt.
It hurt. It's hard to describe it. Because I worked hard. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm just as good as they are, but I can't get a job. I can't get a job. So I started going to the employment office downtown Warren. I think it was on Park Avenue at the time. And there was a lady there. I'll never forget this lady. She says to me, she says, honey, why don't you go and try and take the Ohio Civil Service test? And I never thought of that. So, because before that, I had taken the federal test a couple times. But you have to have a score of, I think it was 85 to pass the test. And I was always under that, and I couldn't pass that test. So she says, go take a test for the Ohio Civil Service. So my husband took me up to John Hay High School in Cleveland. So I took the test for that. They said they needed someone to take a test for a typist. So I had taken the test for typist and stenographer. Stenographer was a typist and a dictation combined. I took the test for that. I passed it with flying colors. They called me, but I ran into some snags there because I didn't know whether I was going to get hired when I got interviewed. And so they hired me, and I worked for the state of Ohio for 12 years as a typist, downtown Warren on Pine Street. The office was upstairs over the Victory Restaurant, which is a Greek restaurant. So I worked there for 12 years.
Which department did you work for?
I worked for, it was a division of the state. It was called Division of Aid for the Aged. And it's for pensions for elderly people, 65 and over. We're in that category. So, and I had caseworkers that would dictate to me their cases, and I would have to transcribe them on the typewriter. And so that was my job. So, and I had there was a manager there. Her name was Anna J. Camisa. She was the manager there. And the supervisor was Dorothy Evans. Those are the names I'm throwing out. I remember.
So were you probably one of the first African American women to have a state of Ohio job in Warren?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I know I was blessed to get that job. And so that was in 1953. I got hired there. The beginning of, I got married, let's see, in 1953, August of 1953. And I had that job. And so when I became pregnant with my daughter, they wouldn't give me any time off other than 3 months. If I didn't get back there to work in 3 months, I didn't have a job. So I had my mother-in-law, because my mother was deceased at that time. She died at an early age when I was 16. I had my mother-in-law, my husband's mother, to take care of my daughter, Sharon. And when I went back to work. And members of my family. I had sisters, but my mother was, like I said, deceased, so she didn't.
What was your maiden name?
Harris.
Okay. All right. So how did you meet your husband?
I met my husband through friends. I had a good friend, and she was dating a guy, and she told him, I know a nice fellow that I would like to meet, that would meet my girlfriend, and I'm sure he would like her. So we started dating. And then he couldn't find work when he graduated. He graduated in 1948. So he got disgusted because all the jobs he could get was car washing and stuff like that in downtown Warren, cleaning up drugstore. At that time, they called them drugstores, not pharmacy, drugstores. And so he got disgusted. And in he went in service, I think it was 1950. Because when he got out, we got married, and that was 1953. And then when he came home, things were bad in 1953. You couldn't even find a job. A person was in service, could not even find a job.
Here he had served in the Korean War, right? And come back to the United States and can't get work.
Can't get work. He took a test at the water. I remember him telling me this. He took a job at the water department, and they told him he had passed the test. Then they told him he didn't pass the test, so he didn't get that job. So he kept on getting different jobs, like I'm trying to think of some of the jobs he had. It's been so long ago, but he would work for different people, like doing lawn work, stuff like that, just menial jobs.
Right.
Until he was blessed and lucky enough to get a job with the post office.
So did he have to take a test for that?
He had to take a test for that, and he passed
Very
that.
good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And so do you know what part of town he delivered mail to?
On the northeast side of Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't very many African American mailmen
He was
that I can remember as a child.
Well, your parents probably remember Willie Fulton.
Mr. Fulton
Yeah,
was the only one.
Mr. Brogdon, Samuel Brogdon.
Oh, he was a mailman too?
Yes, he was.
And so was Mr. Washington, wasn't he?
Yes, I believe so.
Willie Fulton's brother-in-law?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that was a great job back then.
Yeah. Then he had benefits, and so we thought we lived in the Benton homes for a while. You heard of the Benton homes?
That's where I was born.
Oh, okay. Well, we lived in the Benton homes.
Tell us about the Benton homes. What?
Oh, we moved there in 1954, I believe, because I know my daughter was young. We lived in Wyndham before that with my brother-in-law and his wife. That didn't work out too well, so we said we were going to try and see if we find our own place. So we got a apartment in the Benton homes. And we stayed there for a while until we could save up to get a home. And we worked hard to do that too. We saved my money when I earned his money. We were able to get enough money. And we had our money in the Second National Bank of Warren. So my husband said, he says, I'm going to go down and see can we get a loan. I think we might have had maybe $2,000 or $3,000 in the bank. I'm not sure. But he went and he talked to one of the officials at the bank. He told me the story. I didn't go with him. He went to the bank. And this official at the bank told him, we can't give you a loan, but if we did, we can't give it to you in the place you wanted. We wanted a loan to get a house on the north end side of Warren, because he had seen a lot there. He wanted to buy and have a home built on. He says, but we can't do that. We can give you a loan to get a home built in the flats. That's the lowest part of Warren. He says, and we can give you a loan for that. But we were so disgusted. You know what my husband told me? He says, you know what? I'm going to the bank and I'm going to draw every penny we have out of that bank. He did. And we had to get a loan through a finance company through Pittsburgh. And we sent our payments through this loan company in Pittsburgh. And that's how we got our house. We bought a lot for $1,000 on Colonial Street. We built, I don't know whether you ever saw this nice brick home on the corner. That was our house.
There is a house that stands out from all the others.
Yeah,
houses.
it's not what it used to be, but it was a beautiful home. And it was the only gray brick house. It was a gray brick. It stood out. All the other bricks were, red bricks. But we bought our home there and...
You built a home there?
Yeah.
So did your husband build it or he hired someone to build it?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I have to explain that. We got a businessman from Youngstown, William Martin. He built a lot of houses around in this area. And he gave us a good deal. So we got our home built through him. And we had people around here to do a lot of our work, like carpentry and stuff like that, and electricity. And so there was a guy that lived in Liberty still, Mr. Hill. He was good with the plastering and stuff like that, and different ones, and to put that house together.
That's beautiful. So you already mentioned the one story about how Second National Bank refused to give you and your husband a loan. Mm-hmm. Do you remember any other acts of discrimination as you were coming up, or even in your adult life?
Yeah, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you first about when I went to work at the hospital as a nurse's aide when I couldn't get any other jobs but domestic and nurse's aide. At that time, a black person could not get a semi. That's like two people in a room. They put you in a ward. They had things called the wards. And when I had my daughter, I was in St. Joseph Hospital, and it was all black women that delivered babies, but they were all in a ward. It's like this great big room, And I was told, I don't know how true this is, I was told that they would go to a white person who had a semi and says, we have a person that needs a bed, but all the wards are filled. Would you mind them being in the room with you? No way. That's what they were told. So they conformed to what the people.
Wow, so what you're saying is that the other ladies who had babies, they didn't want an African American woman to share the room with them.
That's right, or them, or either any other case, like a person, just a patient coming in.
So the hospitals were segregated.
Segregated, yes. And another thing that sticks in my mind, we had the Warren Transportation Company in Warren. And this Mr. Mumford owned the Warren Transportation Company. And
how do you remember that name? How can you remember that name?
Because I went to school on the bus. We had good transportation on Market Street, Warren Transportation. And I talk a lot to, or I correspond sometime with, I think it's Mumford. He has a write-up in the Tribune, and I've talked to him, and his father was the manager of that, and so the students that had to get a ride to go to Warren G. Harding, they had to take a bus. Like I lived on the Pine Extension after we moved from the Flats area, Pine Extension. So I had to walk all the way there to downtown to catch the bus. And at that time, we had one transportation company. And then I remember this incident when the weather was real cold, and we had to wait for that bus to come, and we had to stand out in the cold. And so there was Kresge's store downtown. I don't know whether you remember Kresge's diamond 10 cents and dime store. They would let all the white children come in, so you can come in and stay warm. They make us blacks stay on the outside until the bus came. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. So we had to stand there in the freezing cold weather. They wouldn't let us in. They wouldn't even serve us in Kresge's. You couldn't sit at the counter.
Wow.
I mean, it was really bad. I probably forgotten all the things.
Well, I remember Robbins Theater.
Let me tell you about that. We had 5 theaters in Warren. We had the Robbins Theater, Post Theater, Ohio, and Harris Warren. And you know where we had to sit when we went on Sundays, like today on Sunday? My grandmother loved the movie. She used to love to go and watch the shoot 'em ups, but she loves the movie. But anyhow, we had to sit up in the balcony. I remember this at the Ohio Theater more than I do any of the other theaters. But Ohio Theater, you walk in there and there's this usher with his flashlight. He would usher. You got to go up in the balcony. And the whites would sit downstairs.
What about restaurants? I heard that at one time you couldn't eat at like the Saratoga restaurant.
Right. That's right. All of them. And that didn't come in come into being until I think after the Civil Rights Law of 1965 was passed.
So do you remember any of the African Americans that worked downtown at any of the stores? You know, remember Strauss's and Sears Roebuck and...
Yeah, cleaning jobs, menial jobs. Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't allowed to work, like, selling clothing or anything like that?
No. None.
So, tell me about some of your social activities after you became an adult and you had your kids. Did you participate in church activities? Were you a member of any social clubs?
Yeah, well, I participated in activities at my church because I was secretary. We had Christian Women's Fellowship, and I was the secretary of that. And then we had a nursery at that time, and I was in the nursery.
In which church?
That was Third Christian.
Oh, I didn't know they had a nursery.
That was years ago.
Who was the pastor then?
The pastor, when I started there, was Reverend J.E. Blair. Okay. And that's another thing I want to tell you about. This is Black History Month. And I'm wondering why they don't talk about all of the people that ahead of my time that paved the way for all these things. Reverend J.E. Blair integrated the Warren Municipal Swimming Pool in the 1940s. I don't know whether you can get that out of your archives or what. And Mr. Culver, James Culver, from Grace AME, they worked together on integrating the Warren Municipal Swimming Pool. They were successful in doing that. They integrated that pool, but you know what happened after that? All the whites were going there. They went to private clubs that had their pools. And I remember the name Farmer Jim's. There was Farmer Jim's and a lot of other ones that were strictly for white. You know what they did with that pool? It finally closed down because they didn't get the people.
That's why they closed the Packard swimming pool.
Exactly.
When the whites left.
But yeah, white flight. Yeah, they left. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Can you talk about any of the other people that paved the way for, let's say, myself?
I could talk about your father being the first black fireman. I do know that. For the Warren Fire Department.
Mm-hmm. Were there very many African American police? Do you remember?
Yes, there was. I think I remember about 4. I'm trying to think.
And that's about how many we have today.
Really? That's what we had, about 4 then. Because we had what's his name? I remember 2 or 3 of them, but I can't recall their names.
Tell me about, do you remember the circus, when the circus would come to town?
Yes, I do. On
And-
Main Street.
And the fair. Talk about the circus and talk about the Trumbull County Fair that they would have up at Hardy.
I remember the circus years ago used to come to, and would come down on Main Street. Down, it would be like, yeah, before you get to the bridge. And my grandmother would, I lived with her for a short while. My dad let me go and live with her because she wanted me to live with her.
And what was her name?
Her name was Louise Blackwell. She was a member of she's the one that I lived with, and she told me I should join the church when I was 12, and that's when I joined the church, Third Christian. But she always liked to go to the circuses, and she would take me when they came to one on Main Street. And the ones...
So they had the circus on Main Street before they had it at Harding?
Yes.
Oh, where on Main Street?
You know where...
Was it at that park in the back of where Grace AME?
No, it was on the... I'm going to go from the bank downtown, start all the way there, the business buildings there now.
So was it where like the Miracle Mart used to be?
Yeah, in that area.
In that area.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I used to love to go to the circus to see the elephants. And those were the days, you know. I probably don't remember all the stuff that went on.
Well, what did black kids do when you were teenagers in Warren?
Well, we just had our own thing. I was in the club for teenagers after I graduated from high school. We had a club they called the Debutantes, and it was all of us. It was about maybe 12 of us black girls. Because that was, I remember Geraldine Reed from Grace AME, myself and another friend of mine. She lives in Georgia now. And let's see. Some of the Joan Julian. And
but what about when you were in high school? What did you all do? Did you play stickball? Did you go roller skating?
Oh, roller skating. I'm glad you mentioned that. See, that's what I say. Roller skating. They had the Warren roller skating rink, downtown Warren, on Market Street. Blacks were only allowed to go. We were relegated to 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday. Any other day you couldn't go. That was for whites.
And so where was the skating rink at? What's there now?
That was, I think that went beyond the, where the theaters are.
Okay.
Further down on Market Street, in that area.
I never knew there was a skating rink here.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, in close proximity to downtown.
Yeah, there was.
I know someone told me, Mrs. Battle told me, they used to roller skate at the Rebecca Williams
I don't
community
remember that.
house.
That was probably after the one they had downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could not go. You were designated those 2 days to go.
So were there like entertainment opportunities for African Americans like in the 50s and the 60s? Because I can remember as a child Duke Ellington coming here to Packard Music Hall and Count Basie.
Yeah, I remember that too.
So did you and your husband used to attend
Yeah,
those
we went
events?
to those. We went to see both of those, Duke Ellington and Count Basie.
Do you remember the Kinley Players? Did you used to go to those?
Not too much. We didn't frequent that too often.
Well, I don't think they catered to African Americans that much. I mean, very seldom did they have any African American movie stars come in town. If you recall.
I don't remember. I don't even remember. We had the movies, like black movies, like Well, Lena Horne was one of them.
Stormy Weather.
Stormy Weather. I went to see that movie, yeah. Cabin in the Sky. You've heard of those, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Black movies, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember where your grandparents were born?
My grandparents were born in the Carolinas, Anderson, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't never lived in this area. Only I don't remember my grandfather, but my grandmother I do. On my mother's side.
That's the one that raised you partly.
Yeah, my grandmother on my mother's
And
side.
she was born in South Carolina. So did you ever go there to visit?
No, never.
Okay.
Never been there.
Okay. So is there anything else you want to talk about? You want to tell me about your kids. You have very successful children.
Yes, I have a daughter that lives here, and she lives in Lordstown, and she works for the county for child support. And she used to work at she used to be a clerk or secretary at Trumbull Memorial. She worked out there. And then she worked at the bank as a teller until she got this job with the county.
And then you have a son.
Yeah, and my son, he graduated from Western Reserve. Well, they both did. And he got his degree from Youngstown State and Case Western Reserve. And he lives in Columbus, and he's a pharmaceutical rep. He has been that for 17 years. Then he works here locally. He had a manager job at Penny's, J.C. Penney's, for a short time. But he went on to do better. And then his wife is a professor at Ohio State.
Beautiful. Her name is Professor Wright. What does she teach?
She teach mostly like geriatrics, elderly people like myself. She has a degree in that, and she was recognized here once for a Hall of Fame.
Oh, beautiful. Is she from Warren?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Kathy Miller.
Oh, okay.
Kathy Miller.
Oh, that is fantastic. He married a hometown girl.
Yeah, they both went to Third Christian. He met her at Third Christian Church.
Oh, wow. And so how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 2 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
Wow. So I noticed that you have an interest in history. I saw you at the book signing for the book that you have there that Megan Reed and Josh wrote about the history of Warren, Ohio.
Yes.
How did you become interested in history and artifacts and that type of thing?
I forgot to tell you, my husband was president of the NAACP.
Oh.
When he was, that's important. I'm sorry I left that out.
That is very important.
Yeah, he was president of NAACP.
Do you remember what years?
I'm going to say it was in the 60s, 1960s.
Oh, wow. And so how did that come about?
Well, we were always interested in what was going on in the black community. And he had some problems when he worked at the post office, too. I don't know, I think it was he had a legal case against one of the employees that worked there that were calling him names and stuff. But
so did he like his role as a president of the NAACP?
Yes.
Very good, very good. I think it's important for us to be members of the NAACP.
Yeah, we were both members.
And
nationally and locally.
And back then, most black households were members of the NAACP. Mm-hmm. It was like a rite of passage almost. Mm-hmm. You knew that you had to be a member of the NAACP.
And there was also a CORE group here. You ever hear of CORE? Congress of Racial Equality. I was in that group. Me and my husband both.
Oh, I didn't
Reverend
know
Fowles.
I didn't know they had a CORE extension here.
Oh, yeah. Reverend Fowles from East Side could tell you about that. And Joan Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was our group.
Do you remember any staging any marches or anything in Warren back in the day? Participating in any marches or boycotts or anything of that nature?
For any complaints or things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think there might have been one, but I can't remember what it might have been about. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else that you want to talk about?
Oh, I could probably. I'm probably forgetting a lot of stuff I should be talking about, but.
Did you want to look at your notes and see if you wanted to go over something we missed?
Okay, I'll do that. Let's see. I talked about the hospital and the swimming pool. And in the nursing homes.
Oh, okay. So talk about the nursing
The
homes.
nursing homes, when I found all this out when I worked for the state, I found out about the nursing homes. Because there was a caseworker. I had to do her typing and all that stuff. And she said she had this nursing, she had this nursing home. And she talked to the owner of this nursing home. And I remember this nursing home was in Cortland, and it was the 5 Point nursing home. And I remember looking in this lady's face when she came up to the office, and she strictly told the caseworkers, I do not take blacks. 5 Point nursing home. People around here in this area might remember 5 Point nursing home. That was in Cortland. You know where blacks had to go when they got sick? Desperately sick and nowhere else to go? There was the Trumbull County Home. We had a Trumbull County Home here.
And explain what that was.
Trumbull County Home, if you got so sick you didn't have anyone to take care of you, nowhere to go, there was the Trumbull County Home. And I think that was on Mahoney. I remember the name of the superintendent. Russell Miller was the superintendent of the Trumbull County Home. And he would talk with the caseworkers, and the caseworkers would arrange to get this client into the Trumbull County Home.
So would it be like a hospice?
It would
today?
be like, yeah, it's like a...
Or would it be for people that couldn't afford to be in the hospital, or if they were just too sick to be at home?
Yeah, and they don't have anyone to take care of them. They're beyond that. That's the last resort to get medical attention. Trumbull County Home. It's like any other nursing home around here, but it was for blacks.
Oh,
specifically for blacks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was separate because you couldn't get in nursing homes like we have today. You could not get in a nursing home like this. We have nursing homes all over. Trumbull County Home was the only place for them to go.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's when I worked for the state.
Amazing. Wow. So how do you want to be remembered, Mrs. Wright?
I want to be remembered as one who grew up in a community that wanted to do the best. I'm from a poor family, knowing my parents wanted me, to have an education, to do good. My dad came here from the South. He was illiterate, but my mom, she had a high school, education. But I didn't want to be on the bottom of the totem pole, just doing lower, menial jobs. And I look at my white friends and I'm thinking, well, I wish I could get a job like that. But I always had the door slammed in my face. So it was hard. It was really hard. Like I said, until the Civil Rights Bill of 1965 was passed, things got better. Restaurants opened up here to us. We're allowed to go to restaurants and so forth. But I don't think I don't know about golf courses, the people that when that was integrated.
Oh yeah,
Because I'm
yeah.
not
They
into
were
that.
segregated because my uncles were caddies.
Oh yeah. In the bowling alleys, you could have the menials sitting up the pins. I heard people having jobs like, but you couldn't bowl there, but you could set the pins up.
Yep, they
You
were.
know,
Yeah,
it
because my
was.
dad said he and his brothers did that for a while when they were going to Willard
Yeah, yeah.
School.
Yeah, I probably have forgotten a lot of stuff I should tell you, but
Well, you did very good today, and
I know.
I have one last question also. What is your beauty secret? Because you look so young and so beautiful. I cannot believe you are 1 year away from 90 years old. No,
Yeah.
I would never believe that unless you just, you've convinced me, but you don't look it. What is your beauty
Thank you.
regimen?
But you know what? I don't try to put on airs or be somebody that I'm not. And I just learned from an early age. I used to hear my grandma and my mom talk about, being nice to people, do good things, and God will do good things for you. And when I say that, I'm not just using words. I kind of I know it comes from my heart. That's what I do. Treat people right and live a good life and don't. But the way the world is now, it just, but be kind to people. Be truthful. Be truthful. And if you can help anybody, if you see somebody out there that needs help, help that person. If you got a little more than you can help them, give them something, do that. And I think that's, I talk to the good Lord all the time. I do. I'm a fanatic or anything. I think I'm just so great. It's just the way I feel. That's me. That's me. I'm not trying to be anybody else but myself. Just like I tell my kids, I said, when I go to, they were brought up in a church. Their dad he was superintendent of a Sunday school. My husband he was very active in church. My daughter, she knows that, and my son too. We took them to church every Sunday. He would pick up little kids, cram them in his car. And I saw a couple of these kids here maybe a year or so ago, and they said, your husband used to come pick us up for Sunday school, cram us all in the car and take us to church. I says, I'm so glad you remember that. But he did. Yeah. And we taught them the same thing I'm telling you, do your part. Don't be a phony.
Right.
Don't be a phony.
Right.
And he used to tell his kids that, and he'd often say this: don't pay any attention to what a person says. Just watch what they do. That's a good example.
Very
Be
good.
true to yourself, true to God, because He sees all and He knows all.
That was beautiful.